Hi, it's Mav. Trigger warnings are in the description below. Thank you for listening, and please enjoy. Where Nothing Bleeds by Interstellarisms. Read by Maverick. Chapter 6. Convergence. Ryland and Simon were two people connected by dying stars. Grace finds himself thinking about their circumstances that night, tossing and turning in his sleep. The quiet rapture was an incident wherein all habitable planets and stars collectively vanished. He could only base his understanding off of what Simon told him and how he phrased it. Every single habitable planet and star in the universe vanished. The only humans that were left were the ones left behind on the space stations. We called it our new Eden. Eden. Grace tries to imagine it. He pictures all of the known and unknown universe's stars just simultaneously disappearing until nothing was left. Tries to imagine what the consequences of that would be. And every single time, he'd arrive at the same conclusion. Impossible. He meant what he said the day he met Simon. It sounded like he dreamed it up. Reaching Tau Ceti using an astrophage-powered ship that held the entirety of the Earth's knowledge. Fishing on Aridians' atmosphere, skimming a planetary envelope to harvest an organism that converted stellar energy. Trying to identify and trap a predator they could not even see, relying entirely on indirect data and inference. Breeding an extremely specific, nitrogen-resistant strain of Tau amoeba through controlled mutation and selection. All of those things were absurd, complex, so far beyond anything humanity had done before that they bordered on insanity. But they were still possible. Every step, no matter how dangerous or unlikely, had a chain of cause and effect behind it. Something that could be measured and understood. Highly improbable, with a major risk of death, but possible. The quiet rapture was none of those things. His logical conclusion was that Simon dreamed it up, and that there must have been another reason he was there. He kept coming back to the vigilante group theory, that life on Earth had gotten so bad that there were now small groups that wanted to try their own solution to the astrophage crisis, and that's why the SM-13 seemed so crudely made. After all, it would have taken 13 years for the beetles to reach Earth. He doesn't know what might have happened in that time span. He wakes up the next morning with that thought in mind. If Simon had dreamed it up, then how do you explain the blood? Armando scanned it. It was human blood, but it wasn't Simon's. That part seriously freaked him out when he found out. But asking Simon further questions did nothing but confuse him. A creature in the blood ocean, the very concept of a blood ocean itself? Maybe he should just stifle the noisy scientist in his head and accept it. He's on an alien planet, for fudge's sake. Simon's presence wasn't the only impossible thing here, even if it was, by far, the only thing Grace couldn't figure out. He had a new companion, a good friend. He wouldn't spend his lifespan all alone. Aridians lived for about 700 years. His own lifespan was peanuts compared to that. Rocky told him that Aridian scientists would do their best to prolong his life, but he knew they couldn't magically make up Earth-specific nutrients that he would need later on in his life. He accepted that, too. Meeting Simon was the best thing that could have happened to him. He wouldn't take that for granted by asking questions that couldn't be answered.
Grace! Grace, friend!
He hears the rapid knocking on his door. He chuckles to himself. It was more like insistent banging rather than knocking. I'm coming, I'm coming. He opens the door, and there his best friend was, waving his claws in his face.
Hi, Grace.
Hi, Rocky. Grace smiles, opening the door a bit wider for him. He watches his friend walk inside. He's gotten used to the sound of him running around by now. He's glad he didn't have to be in a huge, cumbersome ball.
Aridian students in classroom now. Time wake Simon friend up? Question.
Time to go wake Simon up.
Grace like Simon friend? Question.
His brain stops working momentarily. Stirring his cup of coffee. By what do you mean, exactly? Rocky tilts his carapace.
Like. Want mate.
Crud. Was he being that obvious? He swore he wasn't. What made you reach that conclusion, buddy?
It's not hard. Grace obvious when Grace likes something. Grace face leak. Grace tremble. Grace heartbeat very fast. All happened with Simon friend.
Rocky was forgetting to mention that all happened back on the Hail Mary too, with just the two of them. He had a lot of love to give, and for the first time in his life, he was finally able to give it. And to you, that means I want a mate?
Grace Simon heartbeat together. I see it.
Hearts beating together. When did he see... Oh. The hug. To an Aridian who can literally see through walls, he must have seen their heartbeats sync up. That's just what a hug between two humans is supposed to look like, pal. His carapace tilts again.
So, Grace no wants Simon as mate? Question. Simon smart, like Grace.
Darn. He's not exactly wrong either. I don't know, buddy. I mean, I do like him, physically and emotionally. He checks off a lot of boxes for me. But I don't know if he'd be ready for that kind of thing. He's been through a lot. Rocky climbs up onto the counter.
Grace also go through a lot.
He smiles to himself. Yeah, but humans deal with things differently. I might be okay with it, but he might not want something like that with me. And that's okay.
Only two humans on Erid.
Yep.
Mating not guaranteed even with only one option.
Yep.
Humans are strange.
He laughs out loud. That we are.
You not even try, question?
Try asking him? Maybe, but I'd need to gather the courage.
Grace not lacking in courage. Grace save Rocky. Stars, Earth, and Erid.
And I couldn't have done that without you. He reaches out towards Rocky's suit and places his hand on the surface. Briefly, since it felt like touching a warm stove, but Rocky understands the sentiment anyway. At this point, he didn't have to over-explain himself. Rocky just understood. He walks over to Simon's half of the house, now expanded to accommodate him better. Aridian architects worked very fast. Good morning. Oh no. Simon was shirtless. Simon was standing there with his shirt off, taking out a fresh shirt from the cabinet. He's staring at Grace, confused. He's staring at him with his big muscles and firm pecs. Wait, no. He's staring at him with his eyeballs. Yeah, eyes are the only ones that normally stare at things, not biceps. Thanks, brain. Grace spins around, nearly knocking himself over against the door. I'm sorry, I should have knocked. I just wanted to say that I'm headed over to the classroom now. It's at the edge of the beach by a cave. You won't miss it. You've seen me naked before. Simon speaks from behind him. What? No, I haven't. But then who... Oh, who cleaned you up? That wasn't me. That was Armando, the robot nanny. It was designed to facilitate coma patients, so there was no need for human intervention. Oh. Did Simon sound dejected? He won't look into that. I'll get going. I'll see you in class. Skedaddling his way out of the house, he takes his first breath outside, panting. What the hell was that? It's gonna take a lot more courage to talk to him, Rock. I'd sooner save the stars all over again. Good morning, everyone. All right, take your seats. Today, we'll be joined by my good friend Simon. He's a human, just like me. Obviously, he'll be sitting in and listening with you guys. Simon walks in and gives an awkward wave before sitting on a chair nearby. Grace smiles. He doesn't even realize how much this means to him. He claps his hands. Let's talk about planets today. We're starting with my favorite one. He taps the display. A sphere appears. Blue, green, white. Earth, he says. My home. The Aridians make 100 different noises. Most of them were eager. Some were pointing out the word favorite. Grace laughs. Obviously, I like Irid a lot. But Earth is where I came from, and humans live so short that we can only have one favorite. So, let's talk about it. Can anyone tell me some quick Earth facts? One purple-colored Iridian raises her hand. Grace decided to name them Abby, in honor of one of his students.
Shape near spherical. Not perfect sphere. Rotation causes equatorial bulge.
Grace points at her. Yes, you're already better at this than my middle schoolers. A ripple of curious clicking passes through the others. Earth has layers, Grace continues, switching the display. The planet peels apart like a diagram in a textbook. Crust, mantle, core. He hesitates, then crouches slightly, dragging his finger through the air like he was drawing on sand. Crust is where we humans live. Very thin. Like... He glances at Rocky, who is also sitting by and nodding. Like the outermost layer of your shell. Rocky tilts.
Shell thickness comparison acceptable.
Great, Grace smiles. I'll take acceptable. To them, Rocky was a superstar. It would be the equivalent of Albert Einstein coming in to teach a freshman physics class. He was probably just as insane, though. An alien teaching them about science. The Aridian kids make giggling noises. Being fluent in Aridian was great. He could finally distinguish their laughter from their speaking tone. He taps again. The core glows bright. This part is very hot. Iron and nickel, moves around, creates magnetic field. A cluster of Aridians clicks sharply, and he recognizes that sound as interest.
Magnetic field. Purpose?
One asks. Protection, he says. Solar radiation, bad, bad, bad. Magnetic field deflects it. He mimes particles bouncing off an invisible shield, complete with sound effects, like a puppet show. Rocky laughs beside him. Of course, this amuses his friend the most. Pew pew, no death.
Clarification. Pew pew, not scientific unit.
Grace snorts. It is today. The display shifts again. this time to clouds swirling over oceans. Now, this is important. Water. The clicking changes. Earth has a lot of it. Liquid, solid, gas. The planet cycles between all three. Humans need water to survive, and so does Earth. He draws a looping motion. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation. Rocky immediately echoes him. He'd make a great substitute.
Phase change cycle.
Yes, Grace says, pointing again like a proud teacher. Exactly. He glances around at them. These alien beings who process faster than him, calculate better than him, understand physics like it was nothing. And yet they were all watching him like he was the expert. Back on Earth, he was just a teacher. Up here, he is Earth. Crazy, he thinks. I'm crazy. He catches a glance at Simon, who is staring directly at him with a look in his eye. A look Grace couldn't really describe. He looked so serious. What was on his mind, he wonders. His throat tightens. Okay, he clears his throat, continuing. One more thing. Class was over now. He takes off his sweater, sitting down on his chair while facing the beach. He liked feeling the chill on his skin at the end of the day. It was a bunch of industrial-sized fans simulating the ocean breeze, but it was enough. Opening a notebook, checking over his curriculum again, listening to the ambient sounds of the waves crashing gently against the shore, pen scribbling down notes. Hey. Looking up. It was Simon, pulling up a chair beside him. Grace fixes his glasses. Hey. He sits up a bit. The waves keep crashing. Thought you'd be home by now. It's getting late. What are you still doing here? Taking in the fresh air, and technically it's not late. I could manually turn up a dial that can make it afternoon again. Simon huffs through his nose, amused. I thought your class was great. Yeah? Grace smiles. Yeah. I haven't thought of science class in ages. Back at Eden, they had to show the kids lessons from old recordings of Earth that they managed to salvage. Grace nods. He doesn't talk about Eden a lot. Simon looks out to sea. The teacher was always nice to us. She wasn't so much of a teacher as much as she was just another soldier, but I liked attending her classes. She sounds like a great woman. Yeah. What did she teach you? Mostly the history of Earth. Before the quiet rapture. How human civilization prospered for a while. Technology was at its peak. World peace. I don't think it was true at all. But she wanted us to stay optimistic. They both listened to the waves. Simon continues. Grace holds on to every word. She told us that before everything started going dark, some government officials already knew something was wrong. Stars weren't acting right. They didn't call it the rapture yet. Not back then. Grace nods, solemnly. What did they try to do? They made a ship. Sent a mission out into deep space, looking for a solution. Something to stop it before it spread any further. It didn't work. The rapture happened shortly after. Grace's brows furrow as he stares down at the sand. Suddenly, he hears Simon grunt beside him. Grace's head whips over to the side, frowning. Simon had his hand against his temple. "What's wrong? Another headache?" "Yeah, this always happens." A failed mission bound for deep space, searching for something they barely understood. And then the stars died. Or, well, vanished. But if stars suddenly lost their luminosity, wouldn't that seem like a fire going out? Wouldn't that look like vanishing? Why did that sound awfully familiar?